because we're going to add a little bit of movement to our breath. So on the next exhale, we'll round the lower back, pressing the lower back into the mat as we splash water on belly button. And we'll inhale as we come through neutral, and we'll splash water between the thighs. Moving at your own pace, warming up the joints of the low back and waking up the muscles. Reminding the upper body that it can relax as you're moving. One more in each direction. And then we'll find neutral pelvis where hips and pubic bone are on the same plane as the floor. And we'll draw our attention up to our head. Back of the head is heavy on the mat, and we'll nod the chin towards the throat. And then lift the chin back up to the ceiling. So we're nodding this, making a gentle yes nod. Jaw and tongue are soft. Keep breathing as you move. And then we'll find our neutral neck. And if you find that when you're seeking your neutral neck that the chin wants to lift up to the ceiling, adding a towel or pillow under the head can help with that. In the opposite, if you find that when you're trying to find neutral neck that the chin wants to sink down towards your neck, you can also place a rolled up towel underneath the neck. We're going to extend the right leg, and we'll place our hands on our low belly. Teeth are together, tongue is at the roof of the mouth. We'll hover the elbows, and we'll hover the head a millimeter or two off the mat for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lowering down. And exhale, hovering for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Exhale, hover 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Exhale, hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Exhale, hover, hold, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Inhale. Last one, hovering the head for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lowering the head. We're going to just turn the head side to side, release tension. We'll slide the right leg in. And I'm going to give you a little bit of different or new abdominal imagery before we do the other side. So just place your right hand on your right hip and your left hand on the top of your left rib. We're going to practice finding what's called the abdominal wheel. And so we're going to imagine that the right hip and the left rib are drawing gently towards the belly button. And as you do that, just noticing if you feel any change in tension in the muscles of the abdomen. It's okay if you do or don't. We'll inhale and we'll let that release. And then we'll place the right hand on the right rib and the left hand on the left hip. And as you exhale, drawing those towards the belly button, and notice if you feel any change of the muscle tension of the belly. And let that release. And then finally, one hand on the sternum where the ribs meet in the front, and one hand on the pubic bone, and imagining that those two bones are gently drawing towards the belly button. Notice if there's any muscle change. We'll inhale and we'll let that release. And this time we're going to find them, but we're going to find all of them at once. So we'll start with left hip and right rib. And with about 30% of your effort, imagine that you're drawing left hip, right rib towards the belly button. And once you're there, you're going to hold that and move the left hand to left rib, right hand to right rib, and imagine you're gently drawing those two bones to the belly button. And when you've found that, we're going to hold that, One hand to the sternum, one hand to the pubic bone, gently drawing towards the belly button, holding that. And just breathing as you hold this contraction, noticing that it feels like you're wearing a well-fitted garment. And while we hold this contraction, we're going to slide the left leg long. When we get there, we'll inhale, let it release. And we'll place our hands on our low belly. So this time, every time right before we lift our head, we're going to imagine we're activating that abdominal wheel. We'll inhale to prepare. And as you exhale, abdominal wheel, hovering the head for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lowering down. Inhale. Exhale, hovering for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Abdominal wheel, exhale, hovering for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lowering. Abdominal wheel, hovering for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll lower the head. We're going to make our rainbow arc by turning the head from side to side. We're going to bring the hands back down to the side and we'll slide the left leg in. Thinking about hips staying nice and level, and if it's helpful for you, you can think of that abdominal wheel as well. We're going to slide the right leg long on the mat. Inhale, grow tall from head to heel, and then exhale, slide that right leg back in. On your exhale, left leg will slide long. Inhale, grow taller. And exhale, back in. Exhale, right leg grows long or slides out. Inhale, feel long. We're going to pause here. We're going to imagine the left foot is sinking into the wax. Abdominal wheel activates, and we're going to lift that right leg. If we can get it all the way up to be perpendicular with the floor, you can do that. If just hovering an inch or two feels right for you, you can stay there as well. And then we'll lower the leg back down, activate the abdominal wheel, allow the shoulders to soften, and then we'll slide that right leg in. On your next exhale, left leg slides long. Inhale, grow tall. Right foot sinks into the wax. Feel the left heel reaching long as you float the leg up. Abdominal wheel activated, shoulders soft. We'll lower the leg back down and we'll slide the leg back in. We're going to try that one more time on each side. Right leg slides. As we lift, noting that the lower back isn't arching away from the foot as we lift the leg up towards the ceiling, making a footprint on the ceiling. We'll lower that leg back down, abdominal wheel supporting the spine so it's staying nice and quiet. And then we'll slide that leg back in. Soften the upper body. Exhale, let the left leg slide. Inhale, grow long, and as you grow long, you'll start to lift that left leg, abdominal wheel supporting the spine. And then lowering all the way down and sliding the leg in. And if you want to increase the challenge, we'll try for a double leg slide. You're welcome to stick with single legs if you want. Inhale to prepare. And as we exhale, both leg slides, find that abdominal wheel to support the spine. Inhale, grow longer. Abdominal wheel active as the legs slide back in. And we'll slide both legs out on the exhale. Inhale, feel long from head to heel. Exhale as we slide the legs back in. And one more time, exhale, sliding the legs back, ribs are staying heavy on the mat. And when we get there, we're just going to pause here, feeling long. If you need to extend your other leg to join, feel free to do that now. We're going to imagine the left leg is sinking into the warm wax, pelvis is sinking, back of the ribs are sinking, shoulder blades and head. We'll activate our abdominal wheel and we're going to float the right leg up just like we did. And if this creates any discomfort in you, you're welcome to go back to having one leg bent. And then we'll lower that leg down. And we'll sink the right leg into the wax. And we'll float the left leg up. Abdominal wheel active, shoulders soft. And we'll lower that leg down. We're going to float the right leg up. And we're going to pause when we get there. You can have a slight bend in the knee if you want. We're going to point the foot and flex the foot. Point the ankle, point the toes, flex the toes, flex the ankle. Point the ankle, point the toes, flex the toes, flex the ankle. Point the ankle, point the toes, pause here, and we're going to do our leg circles. So we're going to think about hips staying nice and level, and we'll start to circle the leg about the size of a dinner plate. And then you can start to play with it and see what size you want to make while we're keeping the body anchored into the warm wax. You can also play with your speed as well and see what speed, the boundaries of your speed control. We'll pause and we'll reverse directions. If you want to add a breath pattern, it's inhale for the first half of the circle, exhale for the second half, but just try not to hold the breath in any case. And after this one, we'll find center, we'll flex the foot, and we're going to lower that leg back down to the mat. Abdominal wheel is activated. And then we'll sink that right leg into the warm wax. Again, pelvis is sinking. Back of the ribs and shoulder blades and back of the head, and we'll float the left leg up. Soft bend in the knee is okay, and you can point the toe here and flex the foot. Point the ankle, point the toes, flex the toes, flex the ankle, point the ankle, point the toes, flex the toes, flex the ankle, point the ankle, point the toes. Feel the body settling into the heavy wax and then starting your leg circles. Inhale for the first half and exhale for the second half. Notice any differences between the two sides. We'll pause, we'll reverse directions. Allow the shoulders to soften. We'll find our home position. We'll flex the toes and flex the ankle, and then we'll lower the leg back down to the mat. And then we're going to slide in both legs to our home position, heels aligned with sit bones. We're going to turn the palms facing inward, and we'll reach through baby fingers. We're going to float the arms up and overhead, opening palms to the ceiling and snow angel as we circle around. Feeling the back of the ribs sinking into that warm wax as we float the arms overhead and circling around. You can also think about the front of the ribs really softening into the back ribs. And then we'll reverse directions. We'll start with our angel arms opening up, and then we'll rib cage arms through the center. And down through center. We're going to rib cage our arms up one more time. We'll reach through baby fingers, floating the arms up and overhead. And when you get there, you can either leave the palms facing towards one another, or you can turn the palms to the ceiling, whatever is comfortable for you. And we're going to invite the ribs to sink into the warm wax. And as you do that, you might feel a stretch increase through the shoulders. And we're going to keep the ribs sinking, and we're going to take one hand and we're going to reach above the head, lengthening right down through the side. And we'll bring that hand back through center. Ribs sinking, the other arm reaches. And release. We'll add our breath. Inhale as we reach. Once you're there, invite the ribs to really soften. And exhale, come through center. We'll inhale and reach. Invite the ribs to soften down. And as you exhale, bring the arm back. We're going to circle the arms around to our sides. Going into our bridging, so Pressing into all four corners of the feet, we'll lift the ribs and hips like they're one solid unit until weight is on feet and shoulder girdle, and then we'll lower the hips back down to the mat. Pressing into the feet, feeling long, the shins and knees moving away from the head. Keep that length as you lower back down to the mat. Pressing into all four corners of the feet, lifting and lowering back down. You can also think about tops of the hips, the bony parts of the hips leading the way up. Hips go high, ribs soften and stay low, and the sacrum leading your way back down to the mat. Feeling for the support of the back body and the opening of the front body. We're going to do one more and we'll pause up there. And once we're up there, feeling for that nice length, and if it feels available to you, you can lift your right heel and maybe even that whole right leg. If you do that, pressing the left foot into the warm wax, and then we'll place that right foot down. Maybe you lift the left heel, maybe even the left leg, press the right foot into the warm wax. And down, one more on each side, lifting the right heel, lifting the right leg, press the left foot down. Right foot comes down, press that foot into the wax, left heel lifts, left leg lifts. Coming back through center, feel your weight equal between the 2 feet and lowering back down to the mat.